Welcome to At Home with Music. As you can see, I am not behind my keyboard because in this video, I want to show you some more finger exercises that you can use, no piano necessary. Now, I did a video of some of these type of exercises about 6 months ago, and I'll put a link to that particular video in the description. I would encourage you to review those first if you have not yet looked at those. And now we're going to do some exercises here that are even a little more difficult. Some of the ones that I gave you in that first video were a bit challenging. These are even more challenging. So you may want to review that first video and then come on and listen to this one or watch this one and follow what I do. So what I'm going to do is change the position of the camera. And so all you can see are my fingers because once again, you don't need to see my face in order to follow these. So here we go. We're going to show you some finger exercises. No piano necessary. All you need is a table or a flat surface. I'm sure you can now see my hands and not my face. First thing we're going to do is do a little bit of shaking here. Warm up those fingers. Just get the blood flowing. And then this is an exercise that I used in the last video where we just kind of do a little bit of stretching of the fingers. Just very gently, don't overdo it, don't push too hard. Stretch the fingers a little bit, just get everything loose. That's one of the types of stretches that you can do. The other is where you can kind of stretch the fingers out this way. And you'll do this between each finger. All right. Now, the first exercise we're going to do, I don't have a particular name for this one. And this one's going to be a little tricky. Like I say, these exercises, which you don't need a piano for, are a little more difficult than the ones I showed you about 6 months ago in the previous video. So we're going to take our fingers, press them together like this. Maybe you could call this the spider. I don't know. I don't have a name for it. If you can think of a good name for this exercise, you can put it in the comments section. So it begins like an isometric exercise. We're going to press both hands into each other. Now, interestingly enough, you're not only going to feel this in your arms, you're going to feel it here. You're also even going to feel it here in your pectorals, if I'm getting the name of the muscle right. So you put your hands together very carefully and squeeze together. Kind of hold it for a count, maybe to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I think I'll stop at 5 because this gets difficult. Now, here's where it gets even harder. We're going to start moving fingers like this. One will push the other and push it back, back and forth. Now you got to try and stay relaxed if you can. Don't strain. And then we do it with the third fingers. Now you're going to end up, when you're first starting to do this exercise, your fingers are going to want to fly apart. So it's important that you keep them together. Keep them together. This is not an easy one. This, incidentally, is an exercise of my own devising. I don't think I've ever seen this in an exercise book. Here's going to be a difficult one when you do the fourth finger. And so basically, one finger, 1/4 finger is pushing on it, and then the other one pushes back. And you will start to feel this one immediately. And then pinky is a little hard to do. So sometimes you just have to do 3 and 4 together, or 4 and 5. Anyway, that's whatever this exercise is going to be called. And really, you can only do 4, 3, and 2. It's almost impossible to do anything with the pinky, with your 5. Anyway, that's this exercise. And then this is a variation of it. Put your fingers together again, and then you let them stretch out. And then, while you're keeping the pressure, they come back together, and they stretch out again, and they come back together. You will really feel this one. This is a very difficult exercise, or at least I think it is. And then once again, after you've done something like that, just kind of shake out the tension. There you go. All right, that is, for lack of a better term, I'm going to call it the spider exercise. Spider on the mirror. I don't know. If you think of a good name, you got to let me know. Now, this next one, this one I would call rapid taps. Now, you remember in the last video, I did this type of thing where you're just tapping. And these are, pretty challenging. Now, this one, we're going to have our hands off of the surface, and we're going to tap like this. Now, I'm going to start with one hand. Now, you've seen people do this where they drum their fingers. That's not a bad exercise either. You want to get the even pressure, even sound there. But we're going to do it staccato, which means it's very short taps like this. 2, 3, 4. You start out very slow. You can do, not using my thumb right now, but just these 4 fingers. 2, 3, 4, 5. And the idea behind this is to make sure that each one of these taps is very strong. You're putting as much pressure as you can, and they want to be even. This is really going to make the fingers work. Once again, I stress this a lot because it's very easy to overdo it. You do not want to overdo it. If you start to feel any tension, then you want to slow down. So we're going to do that with the right hand, do it with the left. You're basically making your fingers do all the work here. You can even add your thumb into it if you like. But really, this exercise tends to concentrate mainly on 2, 3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, 5. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. You can do it with both hands together. 3, 4. All right. Now we're going to alternate hands. So we start with the left, or you can start with the right. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to start with the left hand. Let's see, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. And then we gradually increase the speed. And we really take it off. The idea is to keep it as even sounding as possible. Don't get too tense. If you start tensing up, slow down, stop, shake it out a little bit, and then come back to it. You can also do just 1 or 2 fingers at a time. You can use 2 and 3 and alternate. 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3. Now, of course, I've been doing this a while. I can go pretty fast, but even if you have to go slow. And then you add number 4. And then we add 5. And then you can do 5 and 4. These, of course, are the fingers that might give you a little bit of trouble. And then you can do 4 and 3. Or you can do 2 and 4. See, the possibilities here, we've got a lot. 3 and 5. That is the rapid tap exercise, and you can develop your own version of that, but nonetheless, you're going to start feeling that very, very quickly. Another way to do it is to tap 224433355. Whew, I'm getting a workout here myself. Now, this next one is called the finger circles. This one was taught to me by a teacher that I had way back in the early 70s when I was first getting started. I was studying with 3 different teachers at one time back in the early 70s. I had my first piano teacher with whom I studied for several years. And then she sent me to a second teacher who was going to help me develop my technique. And this was an exercise that he taught me. The third teacher I was studying with was teaching me composition. So I was getting all kinds of education at the time. Anyway, starting with this hand, we put your hand out like this. It's not resting on the surface or anything, but just holding it out here. And you're going to make a circle with your finger like that. Now I'm warning you, this is very difficult exercise to do. Be very careful with it not to get tense. You circle a finger. Right now I am going counterclockwise with this finger. And then we can go back and go clockwise. Do the same thing with number 3, trying your best not to move the other fingers. We are working on finger independence here. Now we're going clockwise. And I'm not keeping count here, but you can like do 10 circles one way and 10 the other way, and so on. And then you do your 4th finger, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do 5 one way, then the 5 going counterclockwise. And then finally the little finger. And you can see this is even hard for me to do because your other fingers want to move. And I'm probably getting a little too tense there, so I got to be careful. And the other way. And then, of course, you do it with the other hand. And if you like, you can do both hands together. So these are finger circles. Once again, it's going to start to feel tense, and so you always want to kind of shake it out, loosen them up. And then after you've done these particular exercises, go back and gently stretch your fingers again. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, nothing takes the place of actually getting to the piano and doing these type of exercises. In fact, you could perform some of these on the actual keyboard. You know, it'll sound wacky. Somebody will go, "What are you playing?" But nevertheless, it's even more helpful if you can do this on the actual keyboard. But if you happen to be just watching TV and you want to get some work in on your fingers, and you're sitting at a table, perhaps looking at your computer, these are the ideal things that you can work on. So I hope you found these exercises helpful. And once again, I want to emphasize, don't overdo it. Don't strain yourself. The idea here is to train your fingers, to strengthen the muscles, to achieve some finger independence, and also make sure you get to the piano as well as doing these exercises away from the piano. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comment section below. I answer every question, respond to every comment. If you'd like to support my work, you can go to my Patreon page. I'll leave the link below. If you want to contact me directly, you can go to my website and leave me a message. It'll go to my email, and I'll leave that link as well. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.